Welcome to What in the Actual Mental Health, where we have no idea what we're doing, and it's almost been 2 years, and we still have no idea what we're doing.
It's true, and also it's almost Christmas. Can you believe that?
It's gross. It also snowed here today, which is disgusting. I'm like, what is that?
Rebecca hates snow.
I do. It's the worst. I'm like, who invented that?
I don't think it was like invented, but it's
the clouds.
The clouds. Yeah,
basically the clouds.
I
About
just took a
it.
heaving shit all my life, and I had to wait for it to melt.
They're like, it's fluffy, and
You're
you're
never
like, it's
all
cold.
excited. And I'm like, nah. All right. Anyway, so today we have an amazing guest. Amanda, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and tell everybody all the magical things you want them to know about you.
Yeah.
Sure. So my name is Amanda Jane. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I say that I'm in recovery from burnout. And so I have since sort of pivoted from being a social worker, systems oriented. I'm still systems oriented, but part of the system to basically shifting to like transformational creative exploration is sort of how I'll say it. So
Nice.
I'm working on a game, which you'll hear more about. But a lot of it is like what I'm spending my time with is just having a lot of fun exploring language, culture, and identity through art and creativity and all the things that make us us.
That's very cool. And you're not originally from New Mexico, correct?
I am not. So
No, because you're innovative. So
Yeah, I was like, well, you're
Definitely
doing
not
something
from here.
new. That's weird. Where are you from?
yeah, you're like, oh, you're not okay. Got it.
Yeah.
You want to make things happen. Where are you from, buddy?
Yeah,
born and raised.
right. And so I grew up in New Jersey, outside of Philadelphia. And you're like up the tracks.
Very East Coast. Yeah.
Very East Coast. Yeah, very mid-Atlantic, East Coast. It was my upbringing. Fun fact, I was just thinking about this today. Fun fact is I'm the only one of my family who was born and raised there. So like my siblings were born in Connecticut, as was my dad. My mom was born in Ohio. They moved to New Jersey. I was born. We stayed there until I left for college.
Oh, how funny.
And then my siblings are older, so they moved away even earlier than that.
Wow.
But yeah,
Huh.
so it's like a weird
interesting.
thing. I'm like, I'm from New Jersey,
Yeah.
but a lot of people, I don't know that New Jersey would claim me.
Yeah, fun fact is that we both were born here and we'll probably die here.
It's true. Well, I'm not dying here.
I'm not going to die here. God damn it.
I think if you
Very New
decide that you
Mexico.
don't want to.
We can't.
No,
We can't.
we're not gonna die
We
here.
can't. I mean, I technically did once, but not again. So yeah. So
She did
yeah.
die here.
But most people from here stay here till
They die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not that unusual though in the context of the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
It's true.
globally,
that's
a
what
lot of people
yeah.
don't.
Like leave.
You
Yeah.
can go anywhere. Yeah.
It's very like
How did you end up here?
great question.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
So,
Way to not suck.
do you do this for a living?
It's weird. I do.
Only on
I ask
Thursdays.
Very good questions. Mhm.
Only on Thursdays, or else the week's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, no, and only from 2 to 4.
Love it. Yes. No, so I burnt out real bad in grad school. That was not my first time nor the last time, but it was like the main time. And basically like hit this wall. It's a miracle I survived past March of that year. And was like, well, fuck, right? Like the entire like career that I had been building up until that point was like, I have no fight left in me to even try for this. And so I didn't know what to do. And my parents they had initially moved to Durango, and then they had moved to Albuquerque like a year-ish before that. So I had been coming out to New Mexico to visit, and that planted a seed. And then that March, it was sort of like, no, I just got to make this decision and I got to go somewhere where I can be stable. And what I liked about New Mexico was so I lived in Honduras for a while. And so
So Albuquerque reminds you of a third world country, is what I'm getting at.
it does, but in the best
It's the
way.
monkeys.
Okay.
I love my time there.
Yeah.
I lived in Honduras for 4 years and I loved it. And I only left because I had to both times.
Because they typically will make you
Yeah, they're like,
eventually.
listen,
It's time to go. Adios.
Yeah. The first time it was like a forced evacuation. The second time it was because I was like, well, I eventually have to, if I'm going to advance in this career, I have to go to grad school because that's what everybody tells me that I have to do if I'm going to advance in this career.
Yeah.
Don't believe them, kids.
Like,
I
I'll drink the
know.
Kool-Aid.
School is a
sometimes
scam.
it's true, but do
Ponzi
your own
scheme.
research first.
Pyramid scheme.
But anyway, all of that to say, so I had to leave because my contract was up, and so my visa was going to expire, and so I was like, well, I might as well go to grad school. And yeah, but anyway, so it was like, it felt familiar. It felt like like I was like, this is what I want to. Like, this is of all of the places I could land, this is a really nice place to land. And it worked out. And then it's been 7, and I was like, yeah, I'll be here for like 3 years. I'll get my clinical license,
How they get you.
and then you know, and then I'll get back to my like jet setting global life. And it's been 7.5 years.
That's because this is called the land of entrapment.
For a reason.
I do feel that. I feel both the enchantment and the entrapment part. Like I would say, there's a lot I love about New Mexico.
Oh,
And there's,
Could you make a list for our listeners?
yeah. Can we, so that I can read it as daily affirmations for
Right.
myself?
I love the sky.
Okay.
I love the change of seasons. I'm not a big snow person, but I do appreciate that of all of the places, well, not all the places, but like having grown up in the Northeast,
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
winter here is like the best kind of
Yeah,
winter.
the
Like,
fact
if
that
I
it
have to deal with
melted
winter,
by noon
this
today.
is
Mhm.
exactly. This is pretty nice and ideal. So like I love the change of seasons. I love how New Mexico does most seasons compared to most places.
That's fair.
I do like the like cultural connection that New Mexico has, and like the history, and there's that can we get into murky territory there because that can be both like a sticking point and it's like both a strength and a weakness. You know what I mean?
Sure.
To your comment earlier of the like, this is just how it's always been, so why would we ever want to change, right?
Yeah.
Like there's some of that frustration, but between the architecture and like the continuity of like storytelling and like connection to the history of the place, I think that's pretty, as someone who I'm like, I don't really have a place, like I'm not like which is not it's no longer an issue for me, but like for a while was sort of like
Yeah.
like what does it mean to belong, and like where is my place, and it's like, well, you don't really have one because colonization, but
So that's all there is.
so that's all there is. Yeah, so it turns out you were born here, which is not a place that you really belong to, and all the places that your ancestors come from also are scattered because now you're just like in this hodgepodge, just like little European mutt.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, cool. So I'll just hang out and I'll just be the best guest I can possibly be anywhere I live. You know what I mean? So there's a lot that I like about it. I like the food. I also feel like after about a year or two, New Mexican food gets old. It's comfort food. But I'm like, yeah, how many? Like green chili's great. We can.
It doesn't need to go on everything.
It does not need to go on every. That was definitely one of the first things I noticed when I first moved here. Is I went on a date at a brewery, and like I was having some like I was like I really like I'm having some like digestive stuff, like I don't want anything spicy, and I look at the food menu and literally like not a single thing
Yeah.
came with that, like not even like this is a thing that we make and it like comes with green chili like sauce that you could get on the side, or like be like, hey, can you just like hold the sauce or hold the chili?
Yeah.
No, like everything was like the way it was prepared. It's like, nope, it's in the thing, like grilled cheese with green chili in it. Like all of the stuff, like
They're like, it's green chili ranch. We put green chili in a beer. And you're like, oh, for the love of fuck.
And wine.
I'm like, I am like, listen, I am a new white here. So like I really,
Yeah.
my digestive system needs a minute to catch up before I have the tolerance for like, to pack the heat. So, and I'm on a date. It's like, this is really not
you're
the
Yeah.
time.
I
feel like I really wanna-
laugh. Don't
Yeah.
make me laugh.
You're like, if I shit my pants, will we continue to date?
Yeah, you're like,
Right?
well,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there are times when that's like inconvenient. But and I remember one time my sister visited, and I was like, "What do you want to eat?" And I was like thinking of all these places, and I lived really close to the original Cocina Azul, which is like really great. I'm like, that is like the one place that I go always. I will never talk bad about Cocina Azul. But she came and she was just like, I just don't want anything that's like doused in lots of like cheese and like and like something.
You're like,
And
so
I
we
was
have to go to
like-
another state.
You're
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I was just
"Ooh, we
like,
have to
okay, so
move."
that like narrows it down to like maybe pizza.
Maybe.
That also has
Yeah.
cheese.
I'm like, wow, like when you say doused in cheese, like does pizza count?
Yeah, right. You're like, what's the level here?
Right.
Yeah, you're like, oh,
like, so
I think
melting
we're
pot
gonna
is
need
out.
Chicken tenders then.
Right?
seriously.
Yeah. And so
Oh.
she was like, I just want vegetables. I was like, okay, so
So the grocery store.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the
Like
farmer's
vinaigrette,
market
I was
is
like,
where we'll be.
vinaigrette? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm like, there's only like a couple salad places.
Yeah,
you know?
you're like, they don't like to eat healthy here.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, so there's there's like pros and cons, and like the longer I live here, the more I kind of get into that weird state that happens here of like, it's so comfortable and it's so easy to live here. So like,
Mhm.
but I don't want to stay here. But in order to
But it'll
leave,
make
there's
you.
like so many different things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like barriers to
Yeah.
leaving. Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you practiced clinically in New Mexico?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, this is where, so I graduated my program. I went to grad school in New York. And then I moved here right after that. And so I got my like LM here, worked, and then got my supervision hours, got my LC, and have been kind of like working. I will say I did find a way to like do all of that as a social worker. It's nice because you get a little bit more flexibility. So like I was able to do like clinical work that was like sort of direct practice but not direct practice through like
Because counseling
Training.
they make you separate it. So like your contact you have just with a client counts as something different than like if you were to do like community outreach or if you were to do family therapy or so social work is
Trainings,
nice
like
because you
anything
can
like
kind of
that.
lump everything into the same hours, whereas counselors make you separate everything, and it's really fucking stupid and really difficult. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
basically if you want an LPCC you got to really love individual therapy.
Yeah. You gotta get
Like,
knee
that's
deep
what you
in
really
it
wanna-
because they really
that's-
make you classify it.
That's
Why?
what that license is for. Social work, you have a little more flexibility.
Yeah, because they want to teach you how to take the babies, not do therapy, really. Because that's kind of what social work. I mean, that's what they push is more of like social worky shit, like taking babies and working in hospitals, not necessarily one-on-one
We're
therapy.
talking about like Meredith Grey takes a baby though.
I mean, I'll take a baby.
I know. I know. That's why your name is Meredith in my Meredith Grey in my fucking phone.
Snatch a baby. I did snatch
But
a baby.
I know, well,
Makes sense. See?
yeah. But when you say take babies,
Yeah. Well, work for CYFT.
yeah. Okay. There
Yeah.
we go.
That's,
That was never, ever, ever part of my social work experience.
that's probably good for it.
Yeah.
'Cause it was mine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting too, because the program that I went to, there's like a track for that, but like that wasn't
Yeah.
that wasn't the focus.
Yeah.
But what I've learned, not just moving here, but in like engaging with social work in general, is like it varies state by state
Mhm.
and program to program.
Yeah.
How each like there's a core curriculum in order like you have to like it has to be accredited by the AAC whatever, but like all of the acronym soup, but yeah, like the experience that people have in terms of like the conversations or what the focus is
Mhm.
of your social work program so different because even in New York, so I went to Columbia, but there's like 4 or 5 different like master's level social work programs there. Maybe there's only 3. There were like the top 3. There was like Columbia, NYU, and Hunter. And Hunter was known for being more social justice oriented. Columbia is predominantly a white institution, so and it's like they're like the science of social work, and so they're very like research oriented is how they paint themselves. Listen, not to talk shit,
But to talk shit.
to talk shit.
Talk shit. Yeah.
Like Columbia, like they're masters of marketing. So I went to their program because I wanted to do international social work because my whole career up until that point had been like global humanitarian assistance. And so I wanted to do social work so I could learn something like so I could feel like I'm specializing and not just get like a public administration, like an international public administration thing, because I'm like, I've already done that. Like getting the degree, like the only reason to get that degree is for the networking. So I'm basically just paying to professionally network and like, I'm like, was one of those like, I'm a huge nerd. So I'm like, I would love to like sitting in a classroom and talking about those topics all day, every day for sure. But I'm not learning anything that I haven't already learned or that I can't learn through the job.
Right.
And in the job market at that time, especially, it was like, having especially like a more specialized skill is going to be more competitive. Because as you hear, my entire strategy when I went into grad school was to increase the my competitive hiring eligibility in that field,
Right.
Which is also how and why I burnt out. So anyway, so like Columbia, international social work, they could do placements internationally. I get there, I talk to my advisor, and I'm like, okay, so like, what do I got to do to like get an international placement? Like, I'm like day one, I'm like strategizing, right? And he's like, well, New York is such an international city. And I was like, fuck.
He's like, so if you could actually just stay here.
I'm like, oh, that's not the same thing at all. And I can tell you, as somebody who's worked globally, that the systems in other countries and like the challenges and barriers that people in those places have to face because they don't live in the US, or especially a city like New York that has a lot of not just federal, but like municipal and state policies that are actually really supportive and create a lot of pathways for people who are in dire straits or for people who come from other countries. It's like that's not the same playing field at all, and it's a completely different context. So like culturally, sure, like if I just wanted exposure to different cultures, sure, that's not what international social work should be about.
I'm like, I need you to like Google this with me, sir.
I'm like, well, and it's one of those things too where I'm like, I know he knows better too. Like I knew it. Like he wasn't a dumb person. I think he was also really burnt out. Like the longer I like worked, I was like, oh, and I ended up
Like, I
switching
need to
advisors.
get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. But like, it's part of the like, what happens within the institution of Columbia is everything becomes like highly intellectualized and like, and very much this like weird bureaucratic game. So it's, if you want to learn how to navigate like predominantly white or / white supremacist bureaucracies, Columbia's a really great place to go to learn how to do that.
And you're like, where's that in the brochure, please?
Right.
Like
Because
the
the other thing
KKK
too is I
corner.
was like, I got a full ride to University of Denver, and I was like, no, I don't want to go to University because I feel like even as a white person, I'm going to be one of the most diverse people there. Like I feel like it's going to be like just a bunch of white people, which is like, there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm like, I want diversity in the classroom. Like I want to be challenged. I want to have different, like that's the whole point to me of higher education is like
different viewpoints.
exactly. Like having that diversity and having this like really like, you know, especially for me, like a global understanding. And I'm like, I should have just taken the full ride because 70% of my class at Columbia, which again, like look in retrospect, I'm like, I mean, I should have known. Like all of my classmates of color were just like, yeah, we knew that this was what this was going to be. Like, we didn't know like how weird and intense and like hostile it was going to feel, but
they knew,
but we knew that it was going to be like 70% white. And I was like, I'm a little dumb sometimes. I'm a little naive.
And like, I believe this very differently.
I believe this very differently. And like the excuse I give is because I had to do all of my research while I was still living in Honduras. And so like I couldn't go to these places. And so everything I was getting was from online.
Sure.
And so like that can really skew your perspective because you have very limited information. And
Columbia catfished you.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Well, and I didn't find like the form because like then I found the forum after I like got all of my acceptance letters and decided. I found all of these forums like talking about the programs, and I was like, oh, I probably should have looked at this like 6 months ago.
Yeah. You're like, oh, just kidding.
But all of that to say, like, you know, it was like not awful, but like but it was not what I had initially signed up for. And so I had this like whole existential crisis my first semester there, like, what am I going to do? And I was like, should I like apply to this other program that like focuses on this other thing? Like all those, like, what should I do? But I was like, but I literally just moved like from Honduras and then I spent like 2 months in Durango at my parents' house. And then I moved to New York. So I was like, I've already like done like international cross country moves, like twice
Right.
in the past 6 months. Like, I don't want to move again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Cool.
what the fuck do I do? And so I was like, oh, I'm going to just make the system work for me. And that's how I ended up giving them more money and going for a dual degree program, which I don't actually regret, but it was one of those like, I'm going to make Columbia work for me and I'm going to get the best bang for my buck. Here's $30,000 more dollars.
They're like, whatever you want to give us money wise, we'll take that.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So then I did the public health and social work program there. And I loved the public health program, actually. It also came with its own like challenges and, Columbianess, but it was a much stronger program and much more aligned with what I was expecting in terms of like intellectual challenge, academic challenge, and like perspective challenge, especially because like there was like it's really fun. So like they have this like core curriculum, so you do feel like you're kind of back in school because you basically like go to school from like 7 to 3 and like have a block schedule for the first semester to get all your core requirements done out of the way. And like for the dual degree students, you get kind of lumped in with the accelerated students, and a lot of the accelerated students are like MDs or medical school students.
Yeah.
Who are like taking a year out of their medical school to get this MPH. And so it's like there was like a group of like 6 of us, like little social workers, and then it's like all of these like MDs or like other people like or like statisticians, like epidemiologist type people, and they're like we're learning about like the environmental determinants of health, social determinants of health, and biological determinants of health. And anytime we had a social determinants of health class, like we would hear the MDs be like, I don't understand, we have to learn all this like fluffy duffy, like ooey gooey shit. Like, what does this have to do with like whatever, with medicine or with like health? And I'm like, that's the point of the whole class. So like all of us are sitting there just like, excuse us.
Like it's us. Also, maybe you should learn that.
Right?
As a doctor.
I'm like, if I have to learn quant and like biological determinants of health as somebody who will never be a surgeon or like, enter that realm, then you need to learn all of the fluffy duffy ooey gooey shit.
It's so funny that that's fluffy to them because that's literally not. I'm like, that doesn't sound fluffy to me.
No. Right?
Exactly. I was
Exactly.
like, that's not fluffy. It's way worse with some other shit.
Right? But it explains a lot too, though. Like it was a good education outside of the education, just in terms of like the silos that exist within different disciplines, especially like in the healthcare system as a whole.
Yeah.
And that like that challenge of we have a really like dissected or like siloed concept of what healthcare is or should be.
Right.
In terms of how our education system for healthcare is structured and how our systems are structured.
Right.
And so it's like, no wonder, because like studying to like general practice is not what's prioritized in med school, as I learned from my med school friends.
Well, you've said that there's like lots of like big old gaps about stuff. And even like we had gone to a conference together in where the fuck were we? Maryland?
Yes.
Yes. And there was a whole bunch of shit that I was like, oh, yeah, that would have been probably real smart even for our social work to learn,
Right.
like stuff that,
We went to an integrative mental health conference and I was like, ooh, why don't they teach this just like 101? Like,
No.
by the way, your gut and your brain are like the same fucking thing,
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's where I feel lucky on some, like some of the professors that I had, like my first class on, I don't remember what Columbia called it, but it was basically like the social work version of like the determinants of health. And it might have just been called determinants of health for all I know. I don't remember. But I had a professor who like gave us these articles on like neuroplasticity, and like she was very much like her research and her focus was very much at that intersection of like neuroscience and like social work and
Interesting.
that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So like because of her interest, I like that article was a lot as a first semester social work student to be like, yes.
You're like, that makes total sense. I'm in.
Totally understand how the brain works now.
You're like, got it.
Yeah, it's very overwhelming.
Yeah.
But and also like we talked about it, and so there were people, and that's like I would say that's that is a benefit of going to an institution like Columbia is if you choose wisely, there are some really, really smart people there who have really, really interesting and like, you know, like boundary pushing, but not quite boundary pushing, but like sort of like
Almost
challenging the status quo
Mhm.
kind of
Yeah.
innovative ways of teaching and exploring, and the topics that they're exploring are really interesting, and so you can get that kind of exposure.
Yeah.
And you can find that. I mean, you can find that in New Mexico too, but you have to do.
No, you have to look for it. Real fucking
Yeah,
hard.
you have to do your research. You have to do like
Yeah,
a
I
lot of
don't know.
research.
Yeah, you can find that
Um,
regularly.
You do it on your own.
Yeah,
Sometimes,
like,
or sometimes they're like part timers, where it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I teach
Yeah.
like a semester at
Yes.
UNM or whatever,
Mhm.
and then the rest of the year, like
I sleep.
whatever.
Yeah. Take nappy naps. Yeah.
But
Okay, so you go through what sounds like a lot of fun for you.
Much fun.
And it sounds like some of it was a choice and some of it was an accident.
Yeah. As is life.
Yeah.
Right,
And then you end up in
exactly.
New Mexico, which is also some of a choice and some of an accident.
Mhm.
And talk to me about like you're in it. When at what point were you like, I can't like
I'm
hack
fucking done.
humans' brains anymore? Like, what did you do once you got here, like clinically?
Yeah, so I my first job was doing what they call multisystemic therapy, so MST, and that is an intensive type of community-based family therapy. And so the child is the client, and these are children who are at risk of being placed outside of the home. So they're either at risk of being placed in juvenile detention because of their behavior, or being at risk of being placed in a residential facility. So it's not like a foster care situation. It's like their behavior is so out of control, and the family is
That was your first job?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. I mean,
Welcome
I
to
came
being
from,
burnt out.
Yeah, I came from like domestic violence and like community violence work, so it was and like gang work, so it wasn't like a huge leap or like shock to my system.
But you were already burnt the fuck out when you started this?
I was a little more recovered by then.
Okay.
So like, because I made the decision to move to New Mexico. I had like 2 job interviews. I got both job offers, including this one, but this one wasn't going to start for like another like 2 months. And so I had like a couple months of downtime, and like my burnout wasn't necessarily like directly related to the practice of social work. It was completely related to like career and hustle culture. And so to me, I was like, this was like, oh, like it's community work. Like this is great. Like this is nice. And you know, so again, as I have established, sometimes I don't always think. I'm very analytical and highly intellectual, and I will have really deep takes on lots of things. And then the most obvious of things will be like, oh, yeah, I guess that's a thing, huh? Like, oh, right.
That is incredibly common, just so you know.
Thank
Just
you.
so you don't feel stupid.
I appreciate
Well,
this.
I mean, I wasn't really. That's fine.
Yeah.
I feel stupid. I didn't mean it like that. I mean, sometimes you're like, "Ooh, that was dumb."
Yeah.
But that is like people that are highly educated
Yeah.
tend to like miss what's right in front of them because they're looking at the big picture. Because you have lots of book smarts, but you spent so much time in
Street
your
smarts.
books that you
Mhm.
kind of missed the
Yeah.
quote
streets.
unquote common sense or the street smarts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like specials like surgeons are like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Where you're like, oh, you spent like 23 years in books and in bodies, but you're like, but you don't know how to tie your shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
you missed
cousin
that.
was like that. They're like, can you help me tie my shoe? And I'm like, wow. But they're like genius
Mhm.
otherwise.
Fucking
Almost
brilliant.
savant-y.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's there. So you did it. You have arrived.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
See,
good. You're good.
I'm really big on like trial and error.
Okay. Yeah. Same. Fucking same. Oof.
So I'm kind of like, how bad can it be? This seems great. And then I'm like, oh,
That bad. It can be
Yeah.
that bad.
I see. So basically, I was doing this, and like I love the modality. I love the clients I worked with, but the challenge is like the way this kind of modality is structured is like the therapists are on call 24/7.
It's fucking horrible.
And especially like my agency at the time, they just shifted to an employee model, so they didn't have a system like like a relief system set up. So like some agencies who do MST, they'll have like your therapist will be on call during the week, but they rotate like who's on call over the weekend so that you get some kind of like
Downtime.
reprieve. We
Yeah.
didn't have that at all. So I was on call 24/7 for the entire like year that I was doing it. And so
Well, what happens if you go on vacation?
You don't.
I did go on vacation, and I did a 10-day vacation because I was going back to Honduras to visit friends, and like all of my Honduran friends are like, because we couldn't be gone for like more than 2 supervisions was like the rule, so that we could miss one supervision, but like we had to make sure we were back by the second one. So I was like, okay, I'm going to time it so that I have like, you know,
Which would be
like
typically like 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
right, and so I took that vacation. And like all my Honduran friends are like, you're only here for like 5 days. Like, bro, like this is so short. Like, what are you doing? Why did you even come? Like,
Yeah. Right.
and so I'm like, because it's the only way I could get away. And then I went back and like for like a week, it was all people, like not people, but like my supervisor and like others would talk about like, oh, like you got to like, you went like,
Because nobody ever goes anywhere.
because nobody ever goes anywhere.
Because you have to either like you have to cover it yourself or
Yeah.
you have to like give it to someone else and hope the best that they don't like shit the bed,
Yeah.
and then whoever's covering for you maybe picks up the pieces while you're gone.
Yeah.
It's a fucking shit system.
Yeah. And like luckily, like the time I worked, I was still new, so I didn't have a huge caseload at the time. And so basically like how it worked was I would basically worked I like requested the PTO with enough notice, and I talked to my supervisor and we figured out who would cover who if there was an issue, and then I would just tell my clients like, we're not going to meet for a week, but if you have any issues, like this is the person that you talk to or whatever. Like maybe I don't know, maybe they met with the coverage therapist like once or something. Like I don't remember how it was, but it was like they split the coverage because you're on a team. On an MST is similar to like the ACT or like a sort of community treatment, where like you're on a team of providers, and so there were like 3 or 4 of us therapists who had a caseload and then a supervisor, and we met for 3-hour supervisions once a week because of the like this is how to do the modality to fidelity. You have to do it that way. It's like a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So like. It's a good like from a client perspective, it's wraparound, it's intensive, and you have the consistency of having the same provider who knows your story, who knows your shit, who goes to you at your house. So you don't have to worry about transportation. They can also see how you're living and like help you like recognize or like have some compassion for like the reality of your situation of like these are the limitations I have to deal with. I have 3 jobs to work. You can see how my apartment is, and like this kid is like unsupervised for this amount of time, and like I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do. Like that's usually where the parents are at, because the kids like getting into all sorts of stupid shit. And so that was fine, but because I was on call all the time, and because I was new, and because of the type of modality, and also what I was learning about the culture of New Mexico not being used to outsiders or outsiders coming and like relocating, like there was no like, let's meet for happy hour. Like, let's help you like meet people. Like I could not do anything consistently. So like my whole point, I got to a point where I was just like, the whole point of me moving to New Mexico was to have a place to be stable and build community. And I can't build community if I'm going to an event once every 3 to 4 months on a different day. So nobody remembers who I am, or like they vaguely remember my face, but there's no like consistency or connection to actually build those bonds that I need outside of work.
Right.
So I'm like the closest friends I have, friends are my clients, and that's not good. Like they're not my friends.
It's a really difficult. That's why I think there's only like 2 places here that offer MST, because it's such a difficult. It's just there's not a correct way to keep the people who are doing it's investigations is like that with COFD. It's the same exact thing where you're like on a team, but your caseloads, you're constantly, I mean, you're getting like 5-6 cases a day. And so if you're gone and then you're on call, and if you're gone, then you kind of have to hope for the best while you're gone. And because that happens, then that also means that like the emergency cases come in while you're gone. Everybody on your team gets hit with those even harder because you're one person down.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing where it just like burns people out so fast and so quick. There's like no way you can continually. And that's, I think, like I said, I think there's only like 2 places here that do MST, 2 or 3 maybe. I think there's only 2 that I can think of.
Yeah.
And it just sucks.
There's
no way to fuck.
Yeah. It's a heavy lift. And I have some colleagues from that time who still do it and like who are still, and I'm like,
That's
you're
crazy.
rock stars.
Yeah.
Because the average, like what I was told was the average turnover for MST therapists is about 18 months
Yeah.
before they leave.
Yeah. And investigations,
MST.
I think, is like about 7 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Like it just depends.
Yeah.
It's how fast, like it just
Yeah.
rolls
And
people out.
it was 18 months here because of how the agency I worked for used to do it, because it was a contract model too, which was like a little different. So they could set their own hours. Like there was a little bit more leeway in that sense. But once they went to employee model and we had all of these like other like systems and policies we had to adhere to, it was like
A shit show.
a shit show. But so I was like, okay, I can't do MST. I loved doing school-based therapy. So I was like picking up that and I was like, let me just transition to like traditional outpatient. But then I realized, then I was introduced to what is the fee for service scam of quotas. And I was like, oh, so like I'm already taking like, I think it was a $10,000 pay cut to go from MST to outpatient, which was a huge deal for me because Ivy League student loans, not cheap. That was also
Don't fall for that.
Do think that through. Is having that brand name really going to give you the
No.
competitive edge? If
No.
yes, go for it. If no,
Yeah,
get
nobody-
it for free if you can.
Especially in social work, nobody fucking
Right,
cares.
exactly. No,
They're
exactly.
like, whatever.
Nobody cares. So anyway, so all that
Yeah,
to
they're like,
say-
did you just print this?
Yeah,
It's
they're
fine.
like, that's fine. You can AI this shit. We don't care.
Right? Yeah. Make sure you include the accreditation like
Yeah,
stamp or
little
whatever,
stamp.
and you're fine.
Mhm.
Good to go.
But yeah, so like taking that pay cut was like, but I was like, I need to do this for my own like mental health, so I'm gonna do that. And then I was like, this sucks.
Yeah, you're like, oh,
and I
well,
was like, okay, maybe I have to just like reconcile with the reality that like outpatient or traditional therapy just isn't my like this is not where I fit within this kind of system or framework. And before I went to grad school, I was doing a lot more like program management and development kind of stuff. And so I was like, let me go back to doing that, even though now this means that like I'm not going to qualify. Like I was halfway through my hours, so I was like 1 year short of getting my LC, and I was like, well, if it's meant to be, it'll find a way. But for now, I need to like prioritize other things. And so I ended up at UNM in their community behavioral health. And the timing was actually like, this is like, I'm a very intuitive person. And like, when I follow my intuition and like trust the process, amazing things happen. So better pay. And my last day at my agency was like January 17th, 2020.
oh,
And I started at UNM like January 21st, 2020, like right after like MLK Day. And so we had like 2 months and then we went on shutdown and my office was already set up for like telework and telehealth. And so it was a super smooth transition. And because of the role, like I was doing a lot of trainings and like things that like half the time are virtual anyway. It was like, oh, this was really good timing to make this move, because if I was still a therapist right now,
Oh yeah, you'd be out of work.
it would be like if I thought taking the pay cut that I took then was going to be a
Right.
challenge and a stress, financial stress, then like I felt for all of my colleagues, but I was like, this was good timing, Amanda. Look at you listening to where you needed to go, and here you are. And so then I worked for UNM until November of 2022, at which point I was like, I loved working there. I have the office that I was in specifically, like very little complaints. It's very well managed. I had great supervisors and mentors there. And also because of the way the UNM system works, like I was in the same role for like going on almost 3 years at that point, and like no raise, and there was no like promotion in the near future. And so it was like, okay, well, like, what am I doing here? Because I'm getting really bored and I'm feeling kind of stuck in this role. And the only option would be to like completely change offices and try to apply for like a promotion in a different office in the same institution kind of a thing. And I was like, well, that's not like what I like. The point isn't the promotion. The point
Yeah.
is, like that's part of the point, but it's whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't want just like the title. I want the title and, the focus. And so another, like a new company that we had UNM had collaborated with on a 988 project, had reached out to me like earlier that summer. It was just like, hey, would you be interested in taking on some like part-time stuff or just like some like side work? And I was like, yeah. But then as we started talking, they were like, I mean, we can pay you a pre-tax salary for 40 hours a month. So basically like what I was making for but half the time. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, like, cool,
So-
sounds great.
Because I wanted to start, I was like looking into starting my own business. And so that was the launch into the realm of self-employment, which also, again, trial and error, lots of things that I did
Yeah,
not.
how's that going?
Yeah. So
She just says, yeah.
Yeah.
self-employment tax, guys, research that before you make this choice and what that's going to look like for you. That was like probably one of the biggest learning curves. It's a little rough, but and also like I don't regret it. Like there's a lot that if I were to go back and do it, I'd do it differently. But I don't regret making that leap because it's led me to where I am now.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, I had that part-time gig and like it was one of those things where it was both a blessing and an obstacle because it became it became my like comfort place of like, oh well, I don't have to rush this like business development stuff because I have my bills are paid and I have this going on. And so like if I can't figure it out today, that's fine. And so it just fed this like procrastination of trying to figure out like what I wanted to offer and like what kind of business I really wanted to create. Like I had this idea, but it wasn't fully concrete. And I didn't really know what I was doing because I don't know if anybody who starts their own business ever knows what they're doing, but like,
Fuck no. well, you do. You're like, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And then you try to do it and you're like, that
bag of dicks.
is so interesting because it's wrong.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Turns out this is
Yeah,
not,
the universe is
yeah.
like, oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, yeah,
Wrong.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to pivot. I'm going to do this. And then again, that is still wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very similar to
It's
prison.
like playing
Yeah,
that
it's
like
very
hot, cold, like a warmer, nope, cold,
Yeah.
you're freezing right now.
And you're like, fuck, here
Okay.
I go. Let me get it together. Yeah.
Like, okay, which way do I fucking go?
Yeah,
Marco,
you're like, well, I'm
Marco.
freezing right now, but I'm very sure this is right.
Yeah. I'm 100% sure, but I don't know why it's not working.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm there right now.
Yeah. I was going to say, you're going to get trial and error tattooed like right above your ass.
I need,
So
yeah,
your
like a tramp stamp. It's like
Mhm.
trial and error.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's literally life this whole year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's, I learned to embrace it.
That's cute.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe next year.
I'm not embracing shit.
So what is the endeavor that
Yeah.
you chose? That
That you ended up
universe- Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I'm working on what I'm calling Seek and Become. And it is a self-development game or quest that's kind of like the Artist Way meets Dungeons and Dragons. And so it takes people through, it sort of facilitates people through like it's like a narrative storytelling kind of game, but for yourself. So instead of the like Dungeons and Dragons is like collaborative storytelling, this isn't like a collaborative type of game per se. You're collaborating with yourself.
Sometimes that's a lot of personalities.
Right? So there's 5 different sort of gates or, you know, that people have to, and I've designed it so that it's not like hierarchical. So it's not like levels where it's like, you know, there's a specific order. And through each of those, people complete challenges that are kind of meant to peel back a different aspect of themselves for deeper exploration. And so it's the kind of thing like it's really going to be for people who are willing to like that. What is that saying?
Shadow work. Similar.
It's kind of I have like a thing about shadow, like the term shadow work but it's something that people recognize. So like yes, if that's how you're thinking about it, you're not wrong. I won't get onto my little like thing about shadow work. But it's kind of like shadow work. But it's that adage of like you can only meet people as deep as you're willing to meet yourself kind of a thing. And so like with this game, like you're only gonna get out of it as deep as you're willing to go with it. But you don't have to go that deep if you don't want to. So
That's
like,
what she said.
right? Yes, yep, exactly.
It's not.
So, just the tip.
Yeah, just for fun, just to see how it feels.
No. So anyway, so it's the point of it. I've designed it specifically for people who are kind of either like me, where like they hit a wall and we're just like, well, now what the fuck am I supposed to do? Because everything that I thought I was doing has ended at this brick wall, and I don't want to die. So what do I do now? And I don't want to go back because there's no going back at this point. And so like, what do I do now? And so it's sort of a way of facilitating that in a way that's sort of intriguing and fun. It's like meant to keep it like more fun. I wouldn't say light, because I'm a very like what I think is like fun and light is not what everybody thinks is fun and light. I have learned.
So what I think is enjoyable, everyone hates.
Well, but that's also part of how this was birthed, because like I initially was like, I'm gonna do coaching and I'm gonna like do like leadership and change management coaching, because like all of the like every organization I've ever been a part of has been through some sort of like either leadership transition or like significant restructuring. So like change management kind of stuff. And I've seen it done well, and I've seen it done like abysmally. And most of the biggest difference is in leadership quality and like a person's management's ability to depersonalize and build the soft skills around like how do you actually manage people and like change behavior in a system, in a new system, even when it's not like mental, it's not like behavioral health or therapy related, because humans are humans and we're always going to react to change in more or less the same way that we're programmed to, regardless of whether it's, you know, I'm trying to like not have nightmares anymore, or whether it's like, oh, now I have to go talk to Susan instead of Sally about these stupid procedures. And I don't understand why I have to do that, because Susan doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about when it comes to this fucking procedure, right? Like those types of changes where it's like, yeah, okay, both of those are going to be met as like trauma responses. So maybe know how to manage your people. So anyway, that was like the angle I was going to try to take, but like trying to sort of Trojan horse my way into the corporate world of like, I'm going to like change the way that leaders think about things. And then I was like, and it wasn't like awful. Like there were people who were kind of open to it, but the more I tried to engage with that space, I realized I was like, oh, I really hate like the corporate discourse. like the way that people talk about things, or the way that I would have to like communicate what I was trying to get across. I'm like, oh, this just sounds like so sterile and like empty, even if it's not, kind of a thing. And then, you know, I would encounter people and they're like, no, I just want like the answers, but if you're going to ask me to like look at myself, no thank you, I don't want to do that, no, pass. And I was like, okay, so people are, and like I had some good conversations with people who were like earnest about it. It wasn't just like a nope, that stuff's stupid. It's more of like a, yeah, that's like really uncomfortable and scary. So like if I'm trying to do this, like that feels really threatening to me. Like that feels like not a place that I want to go when I'm trying to solve this other problem. And I was like, fair. So how can I make this like fun for people? Like how can I get people to do this in a way where they can opt in, but also where it's designed and structured so that it's not like, I'm going to tell you everything that's wrong with you. And I'm going to like pick apart, I'm going to like read you like a fucking book and make you feel extremely naked and vulnerable. And then put you outside in the snow and say like, go forth and discover yourself. Go on your vision quest. Like, that's not how that works. I feel like that's what people think is going to happen when especially someone with backgrounds like in mental health come and say like, hey, like, I'm going to ask you this really poignant question about self-awareness or about people and your reactions to people or your feedback or how you navigate feedback. And they're like, don't perceive me.
Yeah, they're like, don't therapize me or whatever.
Exactly. And it's like, that's not what we're trying to do here, because you need to do that for yourself though. So that's all that's all that's happening right now. And so again, this game was kind of born out of that place of.
So when you say game, like a board game, it's like an app, it's like a card game.
Have you heard of like tabletop role playing, like, or pen and pencil role playing? Dungeons and Dragons is like that. So
Okay,
it's
so
like-
I've like heard of Dungeons and Dragons. I've never played
Yeah.
it. I don't think.
So it's not like a board game
You
where
get,
there's
like,
like a board and
characters in
people
it?
like move pieces around,
Yeah.
but it's the kind of thing where like, and like the way I've set it up is like there's these different stations you can set up. It won't necessarily be like that, but it's going to be more of like a like you play it like a pen and paper. Like there's challenges that people do. So there's like going to be like little challenge cards. These are challenges that you might do out in the world. Like they're not going to, it's not like something you play all at once. So I have like a micro version that is like a one-time thing. And so it's like about an hour and a half, and you like have like little petals that you collect and you write down your response to each challenge, and then you compile it. And like that's you completing the quest. And so in each challenge, again, is sort of like focused on a specific skill or specific like point of awareness that you get to choose. It's very open-ended. In the longer form version of the game, you're going to have challenges like that. And so that's sort of like the skills, and like it might be something like make a playlist. It might be something like pick one thing that, you know, scares you and do that for a week, like whatever, like, and it's all based off of the, like within the context of the game. And each gate or each level, however you want to conceptualize it, should take about, in the long form version, will probably take about a week. So it's not something that you're going to do all at once. And so like similar to Dungeons and Dragons, where they'll have like a campaign and they'll meet like once a week for months, sometimes even years, to complete a whole campaign. And that's
Oh,
the whole
cool.
thing. Yeah. And then they have things called one shots, and so that's sort of like the smaller version of the game, where it's like something that you can do, like an adventure that you can go on in one night. So it's not as involved, and there's not as much storytelling involved. But with this, it's sort of like meant to take time. And so that's where it's kind of more similar to the artist's way, where it's like, I'm giving you these challenges. There's going to be reflection questions to go deeper. And then I'm creating like a guide that gives a little bit more context. So there's like a narrative for it. And so like the guide is kind of like a grimoire of sorts, where it's like more of the like knowledge and references and resources that speak to the context of each gate. So like the gate of needs and desires is the first gate that I try to get people, like that's where everybody's supposed to start. And then they can choose their own adventure for the rest of them. But that one's all about like building discernment, recognizing this distinction between self and other, and like why are we focusing on the self in this without, when like context matters, right? So it's not about like this is self work, and if you just like fix yourself, then all of your problems are going to go away. It's more of the like knowing yourself deeply, truly, and honestly is the key to clarifying what you want, navigating uncertainty, building healthy relationships, and navigating the environments, cultures, and systems that you have to navigate, even if they're not great. So it's that like really, so we start with needs and desires of like, what do you actually need? What do you actually want? And how do you actually know what that means? So that's one level. And then you kind of go from there with the idea that by the end of it, you're going to be in a place where it's like, okay, I have a clear sense of like who I'm actually becoming or who I'm trying to become. If I'm like, regardless of how ready I am, some people are going to be super ready, some people aren't. And I know because of that, I can feel really grounded in the choices that I have. And I can recognize where I have choice. I can recognize where I don't have choice. And I now can navigate the world and life without having to know all the answers or without having to be in control of everything. So it's for anybody who has anxiety, this is for you.
Everybody,
This is for you.
all the people.
Yeah. So that's sort of like the gist of it. And so you go through, and there's a level about challenges, like mountains, like and obstacles, and like our perspective around that. There's a level for, I call it inheritance and legacy. And so it's sort of like ancestral trauma, ancestral gifts, right? Like the stories that we carry and epigenetics and generational issues, but also the blessings that come from that too. And so like learning how to like navigate that and work through some of that. There's one on like the stories we tell ourselves. So it's a very sort of like CBT oriented one of like what stories are you telling yourself about what you should be doing, what you can do, or what you would do if you could, like, and how is that limiting you? How is that empowering you? Like what are the facts? What's the folklore? Like, how are you working through that? And so like a process for clarifying that. And then the other one is all about like communication and expression. And so like getting into more of that like creative exploration and play of how do you want to communicate? Like think about the art that you connect with that says all of the things that you can't say, right? Like what are the songs that perfectly capture your experience right now that say it better than you can say it? Why? Like, why is that the way that you would say it if you could? Right. Mm-hmm. And learn like doing more of like a sort of critical analysis of the art that you feel connected to, not from a place of like what makes it good versus what makes it bad, but what gives it meaning. Like, why is that something that's meaningful for you? And why is that the way you want to communicate? And why can't you? Like, and so why don't we try? Like, why don't we explore that? And if you, not everybody's going to be into music or going to be into like words, right? So like, what is the form of communication that works for you or that you can actually express yourself through and show people who you're becoming or communicate who you really are?
Communicate it.
I communicate very well.
Okay.
All of the time. I communicate very well. I'm a pretty good communicator.
Yeah, you're not bad. Okay. You're all right. I mean, you're here, so I guess.
I communicate like a motherfucker.
No, that's super cool. Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah,
that's
when do
interesting.
we get to play it.
So I just had the first run of it last month. Like in November. I'm like, I keep forgetting we're already in December.
Yeah.
But
I know.
so now I'm looking for. Oops.
She's nimble.
But now I'm gonna be. There's a couple of places, so I need to figure out like where I want to host the next one. And so I don't know with the holidays. I don't know if I'll be able to do one in December. I'm hoping to, but I feel like that might be a little ambitious. So probably starting in January, I'm hoping to do at least one event a month.
Mm-hmm.
To just get it out there, to get people playing it, to sort of test it out and get some feedback from folks. And then my other goal, so I'm going to spend this month sort of like writing the like grimoire guidebook thing this month, because by the end of March, so by the end of Q1 of next year, I want to launch a crowdfunding campaign to get the long form game like out and designed and all of the things. So again, I don't know if that's a realistic timeline. We're just gonna roll with it.
I don't know shit about shit. Yeah, I don't
know.
I don't even know what day it is half the time.
I know. I barely know.
Like,
Again, I forgot that we were in December, but it's fine.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it sounds doable.
yeah. Right. I'm really good at coming up with plans that sound great on paper or in theory, and then we start doing things,
And you're like, fuck.
and I'm like, oh yeah,
Like, that's not where I thought that was going to go.
oh no.
Yeah.
Or it's like I create like too perfect of a plan, and so as soon as we hit like that one road bump where it's just like, oh, well now we're like a week behind on this thing that I said we were going to do. We just have to start everything all over.
Yeah. Like, that's it. Burn it to the ground.
Right?
Burn it to the ground.
So I learned to not do that.
Okay.
But that was part of my learning journey, is how to not create like the most perfect plan that you can't implement.
Yeah. Again, just make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good idea.
Yeah.
You're like, this is gonna be amazing, but it's never gonna happen.
Right. It
So,
sounds fucking fantastic, but we
not
can
gonna
just
do
scratch
it.
that right
Yeah,
now.
we're just
Yep.
gonna burn it. Fuck it. Never mind.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that sounds amazing. So like, how far are you? What are you like? Where are you at? What are you
You're like,
doing?
What?
What do
You're
you
like
mean?
that. Oh, I have to start it.
You're like,
Exactly.
what do you mean
Weird.
weird?
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
Nice.
So
So it sounds like you've had quite an interesting journey. Similarly to what you just said, is that it sounds like you created a perfect plan and then it didn't happen.
Mhm.
I just said, yes.
for which part?
Life.
Everything.
Oh, for life. Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as life goes.
I mean, right. But
Yeah.
like, so if you could give 3 just like quick
Nuggets
tips about life and sometimes it
for our
not going
listeners.
Yeah.
quite the way that you wanted it to, what would those be?
Show us your nuggets.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
3
this
nuggets.
is, I'm going to say this and you're going to be like, great. How do I fucking do that?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I would say increase your tolerance for uncertainty.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Fuck yeah.
And so like part of how I learned how to do that was running into brick walls, being
Yes.
like, I have to know all of the things. And then as soon as I realize that I don't actually get to control my own experience in its entirety, having like that existential crisis or a breakdown or whatever, going through enough of those and realizing, you know what? This seems to keep happening. Maybe I should change my tactics.
Mhm.
So increasing tolerance for uncertainty is huge, and sort of, radical acceptance, I think, is probably like the biggest tool in the toolkit for that. I would say staying curious. I think my ability to pivot and to get to where I am and to keep taking risks despite all of the like anxieties and things and realities of life boils down to just not being satisfied with the status quo or with like, this is just how it is. And I'm like, no, but why though? What if we did this? What if we did that? What about this? Like asking those types of questions
Yeah.
from a place of curiosity and then actually like putting my money where my mouth was and trying it. And I think the last one would be, it kind of goes into that, but it's play, right? So like, don't be afraid to look stupid,
I'm so good at that.
right? And don't like playing, right? Like, and don't shut your inner child down just because they really love to dance in the rain or whatever. Like, skip to my Lou. Like, I don't know, like,
Or both.
like, right? Like, if there's something that really lights you up or that really captures your interest, like what you like, love what you love, and just do it. Just have fun with it. It doesn't have to, I think that's like part of where that's coming from is like, it's not all about like, we need money for survival, but the things that you love don't have to be the things that earn your income. It helps, but it's not usually like, doesn't always work that way.
Yeah.
And it takes the pressure off. Like, do the things that you would do if you had no money. Like, I'm very big on like thought experiments. And so I'm like, well, okay, so like, what if I was the only person on the planet and I had no access to like anything? Like, I was like survival, like I had like, I could sleep, I could eat, whatever. But like everything, like what would I do? Like, what would I do with my time if all I had was time? Like, what the fuck would I do with it? And that's kind of where I started with trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I was like reaching that point at UNM where I was like, okay, I'm really bored and I don't know if I want to like play the institutional long game of like hopping from one department to another just to get promoted. Because I was like, well, like, what do I actually want? Like, what does success actually look like? What am I doing here? Like, why am I here? What am I wanting from this? And what am I wanting to offer to people? Right? Like, what is it that I can actually give in a way that doesn't feel like I'm, like draining the blood from my veins. You know what I mean? Like where it's like I can
Yeah.
like it's sustainable. I have plenty of this to give and it doesn't tire me out.
That'll kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, those are good. I like those. Those are nice nuggets.
That's called finding your ikigai.
Yeah. Yes.
Have you read that book? Because I have. That was really good.
That's shocking that you've read a book.
Do you want to?
You read?
I know. Do you want to know how many books I read so far this year?
I mean, so far it's fucking over. The year's over.
Not yet.
Okay. How many?
40,
84.
47.
Oh. Do you think you're gonna get to 52?
Fuck yeah, I am. Yeah, I got 2 I'm almost done with, and then I'll be on vacation for a week, so I'll be able to read 2 or 3 there. So I'm good. Yeah. It's 10 more than last year, bitches. That's the only thing I'm
That's
really
one a
good
week.
at, so I have to like brag about it because that's all I do is read and nap. Well, not really nap, but sleep. But yeah. Anyways, Ikigai is a good book. You should read it. I have it. I can lend it to you. But you gotta get it back.
Why are there so many words? What's happening?
Kid, do you want to borrow my book?
No, she's just like, you gotta read it. You should have it.
You should have
I'm
it.
like, oh, she's fucking
Do
glitching.
you want my book?
She
but you gotta
buffered
give
for
it
a little
back.
while.
You won't
and
give
then
it
she
back.
like, yeah,
You'll just
have you
hold
ever-
on to it and you'll never give it back.
It's true. I don't
Yeah.
know. Have you ever seen, if they put it in a podcast, I'll put it on 2X and listen the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
But have you ever seen like a reel or like something you're trying to like watch it on YouTube and it's like buffering and then all of a sudden you hit play and it fucking tries to catch up, but it's like 2X?
Yeah.
That's what just happened.
Yeah.
You're like really quiet for a long time and you're like, I read that book. Did you read the book? I read
That's what happens.
I'm like,
And,
fuck.
like, got paused and then I got fucked up.
I know. I was like, damn, she had to like get them all in.
Buffering.
So if people wanted to find more about this,
Yes.
is there a location that they could go to find out more?
Yes. So you can go to my website, which is www.whoisamandajane.com. And
And
then
then
I'm,
Jane, like Jane.
J-A-N-E,
Just making sure.
yes, correct.
Is there another way to spell Jane?
There could be. People spell
Some
shit all
people
the time.
spell it like J-A-Y-N-E.
Bag of dicks right there.
okay.
See?
Yeah.
Dick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I literally was just asking.
It's a valid question.
I'm gonna fucking fucking push her off the couch. There are no dumb questions.
I didn't say it was dumb.
Exactly.
Real dumb.
She hates dumb questions.
I do. I fucking drive me.
Also, yes, there are dumb questions. I
So
don't-
many.
I don't care. You can,
There's so many.
people
But
are
yeah,
nicer than me.
and also on social. So if my handle is Who is Amanda Jane on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I haven't updated my YouTube in forever though, so that's real archival
You
shit.
talked at me.
Mhm. I didn't
That
want to do
was
it in
like
the mic.
very deliberate.
You were like in
It's like my fucking
That's
4-year-old
true.
waits till I open my mouth and then she
Like,
coughs.
in here.
Mhm.
And I'm like,
here.
like, there's a hole.
I liked it over here better.
Okay.
Okay, no, that's helpful. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here with us. We
Yeah, I
enjoyed
can't
it.
wait to
That
play
was
the
good
game.
times. Yeah, yeah.
What's the name of the game?
Seek and become.
Right, you said that.
Yeah,
okay.
she sure did.
All right, whatever. You never forgotten anything in your life?
Right.
Actually, no.
Listen, I will.
Fucking elephant.
Repetition always helpful.
Yeah.
You are an elephant.
I am.
but
I
in the
remember.
best way.
Thank you. I mean,
She's
I
gonna
would be.
fat and gray.
That's fine. I fucking love an elephant. I'll be fat and gray
You're
all day.
obese and gray. All right, where's our animal fact?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna give you a
Oh, did you forget?
No, I mean, kind of. Yeah, I did because I don't know what day it is.
You
We haven't
just
potted
said-
in forever.
you
because
just
you
said that we
hate
don't
me and you don't
forget.
want to hang out anymore. I'm gonna give you bumblebees, even though that's not what you consider an
It's
animal.
not a fucking
I don't give
animal.
a fuck. I'm doing it anyways. Did
All
you
right.
know that if a wasp gets into
So
a
you said bumblebee.
fuck off and listen, if a wasp gets into a hive of bees,
The bumblebees.
yeah,
Okay.
bees, bumblebees, honeybees, whatever, bees, they will swarm around, like they'll like get around the wasp, like they'll make a circle, and then they'll vibrate really hard until it kills the wasp. Like they'll just vibrate so hard it kills the wasp.
That's wild.
I know. They all get together and they're like dead. And did you know that when bees are flying around, sometimes they get too much pollen and they get full and they get sleepy and they will fall asleep in flowers. And there's like this lady, she takes pictures of like these cute little bumblebee butts and they're like covered in pollen and they're like taking a little nappy nap in the flowers.
I've
And
seen
one
pictures of
time
that.
there was a farmer who had bees and honeybees and the honey like in the hive, it was like different colors. It was like green and red. And he's like, what the fuck? Well, it turned out he lived really close to an M&M factory and they were eating the M&Ms or like getting the coloring and then coming back and it was making their hive like a different color in little spots. So there you go. Bees for you. Even though you don't count them, I count them.
This is great. Thank you.
Yes. Also, if you know,
Fascinating
if we didn't have
information.
bees, we would be dead. So
We would
save the
be
bees.
dead.
We'd be dead.
Do you see what I did there?
Yeah, it was real cute.
That's
Maybe
awesome.
next year.
It's okay. That's in like
Like 7
27 days. 27.
Suck it. All right. May your healing journey piss off those who deserve it the most for a bag of dicks. Hallelujah. Never remember it. Thanks, guys.